Hello and welcome to the Gothic Unicorn. Today I'm going to be trying to reconstruct another piece from memory. This is a piece that belonged to my brother when we were children and one that I would like to put into the attic of my house. So I'm going to give making it a go and hopefully you're going to join me. Now, as you've probably read on my piece of paper, I'm making a castle toy box, but I'm not just making any castle toy box. This is a toy box that was based upon a very popular castle from the 80s. Now, most children of the 80s will remember E-Man and the Masters of the Universe, both as a TV show and as toys. Well, my brother had a lot of the toys. He had those figures everywhere and he wanted Castle Grayskull. But I'm afraid it was rather an expensive piece, and whilst the figures were affordable, that wasn't. So my parents, being very creative at times, decided that they would kill two birds with one stone, and they made him a storage box for all his figures that doubled as the castle. And that's what I'm going to try and reproduce today. And as you can see from my paper, I have written down what I can remember about it, and I've also drawn a little picture. Not a very good one because I've just sat there with my pen and just sort of sketched it out, but it gives me an idea of what I'm going to be trying to do. Finally, before I start, I just want to thank Aira over at Bentley House Minis, who has actually inspired this piece. One of her prompts that she did recently was castle. And it got me thinking, and I thought, oh, I could make a castle. And then I thought, I could make a Castle Grayskull toy box. So that's what we're doing. As usual, I'm going to be using some recycled food packaging for this piece. I have been looking to see if I got some that have got a browner inside, which would make my life a bit easier, but I haven't. So I think I'm going to have to go with this, which is a bit more cream. But I'm going to work out how big my piece needs to be, and then I'm going to get started on the making. To make my basic box, I've started with two strips that are 1.25 inches and 1 inch wide. Now what I've done is I've made the 4 outer walls of the box from one strip, and then I'm using another strip which will bend like that into a U shape, which is like that, which is going to form the a second layer and make it stronger. And then I've got a third piece there which I've cut, which will go at the back. That side I've not reinforced yet because that is actually going to be my front, and so I'm going to be cutting some bits from it before I put the box together, and putting another piece over the top of it just to give it its details. And I will also be putting another piece on the bottom just to strengthen that a bit, because I do want this to be a fairly robust piece, even if it is supposed to be a cardboard box. I think that the door on the original castle toy box opened a bit like a drawbridge, so it came down. But it was mostly always shut because the box was mostly used for storing the figures. So I've decided I'm not going to worry about making it opening, but I do need a door. So what I did was I got a little scrap of paper, and using the folding technique, so I got 2 equal sides, I made a template. And with that template I've cut out the door shape. Now I have stuck my piece of reinforcing behind this now, and I am going to paint that so that that piece will look like my actual door. I'm going to put a few lines to make it look like it might be made of planks or something like that, and then I'm going to paint it. At the top of the front I've actually cut out 2 chunks which are going to be my turrets. I can't remember if the original turrets stuck out or not, but I'm going to make some little boxes that will actually stick out a little tiny bit past there and then a little bit into the box. I know they stuck into the box, but I'm using a bit of artistic license because I'm sure that the original Castle toy box is long gone. So that's where I'm at, and I'm now going to get on with constructing my little turret pieces so that I can see what sort of scale I've got to put my skull on. I have made 2 very simple little boxes which are going to be my turrets, and then they will fit in like that and sort of hang over either side, and I think that's going to work rather well for the look that I want. Next step is to plan where I want the skull and how big it's going to be. Using my original door template, I drew out the kind of skull that I wanted. It's not a human skull, it's quite grotesque if you actually look at the original toy from the 80s, which I've done. I've looked up pictures, and that is going to fit onto the front of my piece like this. So I'm just going to glue this in place. Make sure I get glue down the teeth. And all around the eye sockets. So I'm going to now glue that into place. Once it is dry, I'm going to add another layer of dimension to it using some glue. If I use my glue when it's quite tacky, it will actually hold its shape. Let me get this into shot properly. And then I can actually build this up a little bit more so it'll look a little bit more dimensional than it does at the moment, and maybe put a bit more on the teeth to make sure that you can actually see the difference between the teeth once I start painting the piece. I have applied the glue to give some more body to my skull, and I'm just about ready to start sticking this together, but the last thing I'm going to do before I stick it together is I'm going to put some marks onto the door to make it look like it's made out of planks. They're not the straightest lines in the world, but it's not supposed to be an accurate model of anything in particular. So I've just used a sharp object. This is my paper piercer of many years vintage, and as you can possibly see, I don't know if you can actually see that, but it's actually left some marks on there so that when I paint it I'll get a bit of texture to that piece. So I'm going to start by sticking my reinforcing piece inside, and I will put some glue on this piece here like this, and I will fasten that in place on there. Just make sure that's going to fold nicely. And as you can see, I've now got the bottom for my box in place. I will stick this one in place next, and then I will carry on sticking my box in order. The reinforcing panel for the bottom is the last piece that I'm going to stick into place for the structure of the box. And then I've got my basic toy box. Obviously now I need to stick my my turrets into place, and to do that I am going to apply the glue onto the holes. Just clean that up a little bit. I don't want to. And I'll pop this one into place like so. And just clear up all that extra glue. And I'll do the same for this one. And stick this one into place too. I want them to look approximately level, and then I'll just give it a little pinch along this side. And then I've got the basics of my castle toy box completed. Now obviously most people will not be wanting to make a Castle Grayskull themed toy box, but this makes for a very simple little castle themed toy box that could fit into a lot of different scenes. Obviously you could fill it then with random toys coming out over the top, and that's probably what I'll do in due course. I'm going to go around all my edges with some glue just to tidy them up and smooth them out, and then once that is cured, my next step is going to be painting. I have now put the paint on, although it does need touching up in a few places, I'm not going to deny that. And you can actually see the details of the design a bit better. We've got the skull, which I've done in the same colour grey as the rest of the box, because that seems to be the way that the skull on Castle Grayskull worked. It was same colour as the rest of the castle. The white teeth, the black door, and of course I've got my brown inside to represent the just plain cardboard of the original box. And I'm quite pleased with how this has come out, my little castle toy box. Now I'm going to go and have a little think about how I might dress it. Now that I have made the toy box, it's got me thinking as to how I want to dress it, and that's what I'm going to speak about a little bit about now. It actually sent me off into my boxes of miniatures looking for some pieces that I bought many years ago, and that I could use something like these to go and dress this box. Now these are miniature toy boxes, or rather miniature boxes for toys. Now these are some that I bought from a Dolls House show, as I said, a good number of years ago, and to be fair, they're a little bit on the big side to fit into my little toy box, but this is an idea that I could use, and it might be something that I do. I might make some boxes to either put into the toy box so they're sticking out, or more likely to put around it, because this is going to go into an attic, and I figure that since the owner of my house is something of a hoarder, she will have been collecting things from her grandchildren and storing them away for future use. And now they will have been found by the great-grandchildren. Now another toy that I found that I could use is this pretty little ragdoll. Now this is another one that I've bought, but it does look like quite a simple kind of idea to make a little ragdoll. It's actually got a pipe cleaner or wire body to it, and something like a would fit inside, but it doesn't quite go somehow. And it's also got me thinking that I'm going to have to make some toys of my own, because well, it's just got to be done, hasn't it? And I've had a go. I had a go at making one of those stacking sets of rings that most kids have, or at least used to. And this is just made out of some punched circles and actually some sequins, because I haven't got punches in the right size, stacked up, glued together, and then painted. And then a little bead on the top, and that's just the end of a toothpick stuck through the bottom one to make the pole that they all sit on. But again, that's something that could go with this if there was something else to hold it up. Doesn't necessarily have to be anything important, but you know, I could dress it so that that is sticking out of the top. But that's just the sort of thoughts that I'm having at the moment about how I'm going to dress my toy box. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, please like, comment and subscribe. And until next time, bye!